Welcome to the Success Pick and Mix podcast. I'm your host, Nicky Raby, a professional pick and mixer. I'm a personal brand coach, a speaker, an actor, a creator, and a podcaster. I'm on a mission to help you find and create your version of success. Your pick and mix of life and business on your terms. A blend that complements your personality, your goals, and your circumstances. Since 2018, I've been sharing interviews and mini episodes to help you unlock your next step, to make it real and make it happen. Round here, we dream big. We go for the ideal version. We talk about money and make moves our future selves would be proud of. This podcast is free and available for you whenever you need it. So do rate, review, and subscribe for new episodes. If you want to go deeper with my support, check out my freebies house and unlock the rooms you choose. nickyraby.com/freebies house. I also have workshops, programs, and one-on-one bespoke offerings. For prices and availability, go to nickyraby.com. Thank you, as always, for spending some time with me and my guests. Now, on to today's episode. In today's episode, I talk to Lucy Knights, who is the founder of Born at Dawn, whose mission is to bring you effortless style with a personal touch. And the collection is focused on wardrobe heroes, beautiful, easy to wear clothes that can take you from day to night. And all of the pieces can be worn multiple times in different ways, giving you endless options. Do you remember back in the day as a teenager, you'd have like this one skirt and it could only go with this one top? And basically now, kind of as I approach 40, I'm looking at my clothes in a very different way. And I really love what Lucy's done and how she's built up such a community. And she's really talking about body image and how you pull things together, how you be multifaceted, and all these things of going from day to night. So it's a really interesting chat. Please come over to Instagram at Nicky Raby and let us know your thoughts. I would love to hear what you're into, what helps you, and all that good stuff. Likewise, you can come over to the show notes, nickyraby.com/podcast. And if you are looking for coaching or online courses as we go into the new year, this is a perfect time to start thinking about it. I'm already taking bookings in February, which seems completely nuts, but that's not very far into the spring, so that's quite exciting, of flip-flop weather again. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the episode. Here it is. If you do, please rate, review, and subscribe and share with your pals. Here it is. Hi, Lucy. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Nicky.
Hello. How you doing?
Yeah, really good, thank you.
Excellent. So let's start with you and your business. What do you do? Tell everyone who may not be familiar.
Yeah, so I'm the founder of a women's wear website called Born at Dawn. It's all about bringing beautiful, effortless style, and I try to edit European discovery brands that are a bit harder to find and more unusual.
Brilliant. And so needed. I'm about to turn 37 and I have no idea what I'm doing with my life or my wardrobe, and I'm kind of looking at things going, really? I think it's just time to ditch them. So, but how did it start for you? Were you always an entrepreneur? What did your business and career journey look like?
Yeah, so I've always been in fashion retail. That was my first job when I was 16, actually. I got a job in a shop nearby. And then I went to university and did a business degree and a graduate scheme. But then I found myself kind of missing the buzz of fashion retail. So I ended up going to work at Gap as a manager for their flagship store. And then I was really lucky to be offered a job at Harrods, which I then worked for 8 years and worked my way up, looking after women's wear and driving their sales and strategy there. But then I had my 2 daughters and I did go back in between the two. But then after my youngest, I decided that I wanted to start my own business.
And what did that look like for you? Did you know what it was going to be? Has it been a lot of trial and error? Has there been a lot of ugly cries? How's it been?
I think I've always known deep down that I wanted to work for myself eventually. So yeah, it was just more waiting for a moment that was right, and kind of the right idea and the right business. So after I kind of was hearing lots of people around me, lots of my friends, and kind of feeling my own frustrations with shopping as I got older and kind of busier, and had less time to dedicate towards it.
Yeah.
And I really thought there was a gap in the market for a website for, women in their 30s and 40s. We're quite busy. We still want to look good. We don't always want to wear kind of mainstream brands and kind of high street that you'll see a lot of other people wearing. And you wanted something a little bit different. But also I think your style changes and you need things that are kind of easy to wear and comfortable, things that don't take much thought and you can put together quickly in a rush in the morning and still look great. So I interviewed lots of women, talked to them about their style, which pieces they wore most in their wardrobe, what they were looking for, and that really helped shape the idea for Born at Dawn.
Brilliant. And then what did that look like practically? How did you sort of start the process of actually getting it moving and shaking?
Yeah, I did give myself a year, and part of that was kind of my maternity leave with my second. I kind of started it slowly. I started doing the research, doing the business plan. I started trying to get out to kind of more events, things like Mother's Meeting, Southwood's Social Hub, and just kind of get out there and meet other women kind of doing similar things and get inspiration. I just kind of gave myself a year timeline. But also for fashion, you have to buy 6 months in advance. So it's not kind of a quick process if you're buying in the product as well. You need to give yourself some time for that.
Yeah. How did that feel, sort of investing that money up front and sort of, I guess, what mindset shifts did you have to do in order to really back yourself? Because so many of my clients, they want to do lots of things and often the vision is really, really clear. But sometimes they have that niggling voice of like, oh gosh, but actually what if this doesn't work? And what if I have to, go back to my old job? Or how did you kind of keep that voice or that potential niggle at bay so you actually just got on with it, or come the F on, as they say in Bridget Jones?
Yeah, no, it is hard to kind of, invest that money, but I was just of the mindset that I'd always wanted to do it. I'd done my research, and this was kind of my one chance, and I was going to give it all that I had, and if it didn't work out, I'd known I'd given it my all. But also, I had to do a lot of research and make sure that I felt comfortable that the pieces that I were buying were going to suit my target customer, to kind of minimize that risk as well. It's like I'd worked with the buying department at Harrods quite a lot, but I'd never done the buys myself. Mm-hmm. So I was quite conscious of trying not to just buy things that I like, to try and keep my customers in my head and what they would like, to try and minimize the risk as much as possible.
Yeah, and have you found that you've got braver as time's gone on, or have you sort of stuck to more of what you know just because you know your customer much more now?
I suppose I have got braver. So sometimes in the beginning I've maybe bought across a wider range of products, smaller amounts. but now I can see something and be more confident that because of things that I've seen sell well before, that I can invest more in that piece and make it one of the key pieces in the season. So yeah, that's a nice place to be as well, to kind of focus your buys into kind of a smaller units and make them key products.
Definitely. And how did you know how to stand out in the market? Because I guess, you know, the nature of the high street or the internet, you know, we can buy sort of so many things. How did you really find your USP and so you could really stand out?
So firstly, in terms of the product, I tried to make sure it was kind of more niche in those terms, but also part of my mission was to kind of bring it to the customers in a personal way, in a way that the big brands couldn't, through my social media, through, you know, the way I send out my packages, with like a handwritten note, and I always encourage the customers to let me know how they got on with things. I check back with them. I often get emails asking for styling tips, and you know, just always trying to think of ways to surprise the customer and make them feel special, because that's what the big brands can't do.
Yes. And especially if your target market is 30s, 40s, you know, I remember when I had my son 3 years ago, it was that sense of I wanted to have all those easy wins of making myself feel better. But certainly when people are on maternity leave or, you know, they're freelancing and they're taking time out, you don't necessarily have that budget to go, darling, make me a wardrobe. So actually, you know, every piece or every purchase is, I guess, a consideration for a little while, rather than just going, oh, blimey, I need a top, quick, I'm going to run into this shop for a Saturday night. You know, it's much more deliberate and thought about.
Yeah, and part of the things that I look for when I buy, I'm always thinking, can it be worn lots of times and in different ways? And also something that's quite important to me is that one of my customers can bring out that piece next year or the year after and still feel like it, you know, it's good quality, but also they've not got tired of like a trend. So I don't tend to be guided too much by trend. I think obviously you do kind of buy into trends because that's what the designers are kind of inspired by, but I just try to be more inspired by women kind of on the street, normal women, and the things that they like and that they're going to be able to wear forever. But that doesn't necessarily mean those pieces don't make a statement. So it might be, you know, a faux fur, kind of bright red coat or leopard print or things that are fun, but in a timeless way.
Yeah, because I guess this is the great thing now we're at this certain point of age, is that we can keep bringing, I mean, as long as your, you know, actual size doesn't change and it still fits, but you can, I've got some things in my wardrobe that are 10, 15 years old and I still really love them, and and there's a weird sort of guilt thing in there. Now, I mean, people, I guess, are being much more conscious now, but it is that sense that like, oh, can I still wear this? I've got this sort of peacock blue dress that I bought for a wedding years ago, and I've worn it so many times and I really love it. I've got it in black as well. I bought the same dress, but it's just finding those kind of easy wins really, and they just make you feel good.
Yeah, and I think that's what I really like about Marie Kondo's book as well. I didn't take like too much from it with the folding, but and all of that. But what I really liked was when she said, go through your wardrobe, and if you're sorting out, hold each piece and think, does it make me, you know, feel special when I touch it? And some things, whether it's because of how comfortable it makes you feel or memories, and those are the things you should keep and continue to wear.
Absolutely. And also equally those things that you look at every time going, no, just haven't found the you know, situation to buy it. My auntie bizarrely gave me this leather jacket, and it's a really funny colour. I think I gave it back to her in the end because I felt really guilty about it. I feel like this jacket's got a curse, but it was this sort of tan colour and it was a bit of an odd shape, but she'd bought it and it was beautiful Italian leather and spent an absolute fortune on it, but just just had never worn it, and she felt really guilty, and then was like, maybe it'll fit you, do you want it? And then it just sat in my wardrobe. So you have to sort of release stuff as well, just to make room for the good stuff too.
Yeah, definitely.
How have you used social media? How has it been really useful for you? Because I guess, again, it's one of those, clothing and fashion is such a broad topic that people could scroll all day. How have you found a way of really driving traffic to your site and using it for your business?
I think, so before I launched, 6 months before I launched, I started to use like social media and build my Instagram profile and network, which is kind of tricky sometimes when you don't have the product yet.
Yes.
But I just really tried to have kind of the customer and the women I'd spoken to in mind and what they were interested in, and kind of did collaborations and features with other women that I knew and respected, which helped me kind of create a buzz and get people to know the brand before it actually launched, which helped me in terms of kind of creating a buzz at the time. And also, I spent time on social media asking people their thoughts on different things. So that was part of my market research too. I kind of involved my followers at the time kind of in the journey of planning and launching the brand, which really helped. I think then when you actually launch, sometimes then it can get more challenging to kind of spend as much time on social media as you would like to.
Yes.
So when you kind of got loads of orders or you've got big events coming up, to still have the same type of presence sometimes is something that I've kind of found hard at times. But yeah, I think I've found kind of an equilibrium now. I'm kind of try to still be there, but kind of you have to be a bit more limited on the time you spend on there.
Yes, because they kind of make those phones that actually they will suck you in and lose a day quite easily. You know, they're sort of, definitely made to be addictive. What other kind of marketing strategies have you used apart from social media? Because I guess because you don't have the shop front of being on the high street, as it were, how have you brought people into your world?
So I do quite a lot of events. I also do a night in service where customers can book an evening where I bring the collection out to them and they can invite their friends over.
That's clever.
I kind of just to think about how, because obviously my background isn't kind of a website fashion retail. I've always kind of worked in stores and it's been about kind of face to face and seeing the product. I was really keen to still be able to do that with it being a website.
Yeah.
In the first season, I mean, I was out all the time with the customer, like doing every single kind of pop-up and different events. So
almost like you're at the bus stop going, do you want to look in my suitcase? I've got loads of anything you want. I've got all the colours.
It's amazing to kind of get out there, but then after the first 6 months, I was kind of like, right, I'm kind of exhausted now. I need to kind of, so I still try and get out to kind of events and do kind of the night in, but it's less frequent and I try and kind of choose it wisely. But that's, and I mean, you know, some of my customers now that buy through the website, my regular customers, and because in the beginning, I met them at a night in at somebody's house or an event here. So I think sometimes people initially meeting you and seeing the products can then lead to kind of future loyalty. So that was one thing that I did that was kind of important. But also now that I've kind of got a year and a half under my belt with the business, I'm trying to kind of focus on looking after, not always just being about new, kind of seeking new customers, to try and look after the customers that I've got well, because I think if you do that, then ultimately they will recommend you to other people and it helps you in terms of word of mouth as well.
Oh, that's such a good point. I had a call from O2, and I will out them because I was so cross because they said I've been with them for, I don't know, 15 years or something, and they were basically trying to see who else in my household may want a to be with them and get a discount. And it was that at no point were they doing anything for me and rewarding my loyalty. And I think sometimes it is that case of, especially when things are busy, you know, on to the next thing or the next person, but actually remembering those contacts is really important as well. What does a day in the life for you look like, and how do you manage your time between being on the daily grind version of things, but also growing the business?
I think it's hard, isn't it? Because for me, like every week's different. I might have, you know, an event that I've got to prep for. I might have a week, it's in buying season, and I kind of remember buying appointments or kind of meetings quite a lot. So one thing actually I did kind of struggle with at first was from always being in big companies and having routines, that I really wanted to have a routine, and it really stressed me out that kind of...
You wanted a grown-up to kind of come round and go, right, Lucy, today we are...
Yeah, but then I had realised after a while I can't have a routine in the same way ever again, and to try and embrace it, to try and be like, okay, well, you know, I can go and help out on my daughter's school trip, you know, next week, and I don't have to answer to anyone. However, I will have to make up that work at other times of maybe in the evenings or the weekend, but just try and remember the good points of you feeling like you don't have a routine. Also, I've kind of got someone that comes and helps me a little bit part-time now. So I think having her come and help me on certain days has helped me feel like I've got more of a routine as well.
Yeah, it's always good for momentum as well, just being able to bounce those ideas around with somebody, because sometimes when you're on your own all day, it can, especially for me when it's a nursery day, I feel like I'm just going, okay, let's go, see a client, do a meeting, get on the phone, and it's just quite relentless. And then suddenly, you know, pickup time rolls around and I'm like, wow, I've just burned through 8 hours. It can, it can feel quite full on. What do you do to sort of remain excited about your business and productive and kind of in the zone of it? Sort of how do you work through those trickier days, or when you're just kind of, I don't know, not feeling it for whatever reason?
I think I read once about trying to be aware that women have a flow, like kind of we have an energy flow. And I think sometimes of the month you can feel like you can take on anything and you can work all night and you've kind of got loads of energy, and other times you don't. And trying to kind of understand that about yourself, that if you've got a day where you're not getting much done, you're not being as productive, that's normal, and you're going to have those other days where you can fit so much more in. So that's something I try and remind myself. But I do think you have to be careful not to get burnt out as well. I think at certain times you can find yourself kind of a bit tired or struggling to come up with new ideas. And I think that's when you know you need a bit of a rest.
Yeah, definitely. And just a kind of a different change of scenery or a different pace that, you know, I have that sometimes where I'm sitting at my desk and trying to come up with that next thing. And actually the best thing for me is going to get a bit of fresh air, walking around the park, which is just across the road. And the ideas just come super quick rather than me going, okay, and because it's just not exciting in that kind of vein. Have there been any books or business resources or anything that you could share that have just really been useful, or maybe stuff that you refer back to?
I think something that I try and refer back to is quite early on at Salford Stores. I did a vision board workshop with a lovely lady called Jessica, and I've got those vision boards that I did at the beginning up on my wall, and I do try to kind of come back to them and remind myself, you know, what do I want personally? What do I want for the business? Because I think sometimes when you're in the detail, you can kind of lose sight of that. So I think kind of the vision board is something, but also podcasts really help me. And I think they help me sometimes take a step back and think, like, come up with new ideas or think about things in a different way. So I do listen to quite a variation of different business podcasts, and that really helps me too.
And often when you're looking outside of your own industry, that's when I get more ideas, because otherwise I find myself being so influenced by what other people are saying that I don't want to churn out the same old stuff. I always want to give my own stamp on it. How important has kind of your network been, and influencers and connecting with people? And how would you advise people who are just starting out to do that?
Yeah, I think that network's really important. And I think, when you're networking in a big company and being told to network and kind of corporate networking. Hi. Just like something really hard. And kind of you always had to have an ulterior, I don't know, you always felt like you had to do it with some kind of ulterior motive. And the way I just tried to approach it in a way that felt natural to me was I just kind of went to events and just chatted to people. I didn't find out who was there before or know who I needed to go to. I'd just literally go and talk to the person next to me and just be interested in other people, and have natural conversations. And I think that really helped. And I think not only just in terms of kind of the influencers I've met, but also people that are in a similar position to you, because that's really helpful to feel like you almost have work colleagues, people kind of doing a similar thing, so you don't feel by yourself. So that network of people I've met who are, freelance or starting their own business is really important as well.
Yeah, who understand the lows, but also the highs of, you don't know what this means. This meeting could change everything. When those sort of things pop up, you want to have those people that you can share it with, I guess. I've got one final question for you, which is, where would you like to be in 5 years' time, in business or in life, or a combination of the both?
Yeah, I suppose I would like to maybe have the business kind of maybe have like a slightly bigger team. I'd love to be able to pay myself what I got paid when I worked for a bigger company. I don't really want to, loads of money, or that's not kind of my dream. I'd just like to be able to enjoy flexibility, feel like I've got the business in a stable position and be able to pay myself, a fair wage for the hours that I put in, because I do really enjoy it.
That's brilliant. And that's so good to kind of know that's all kind of coming. And I say it to my clients all the time, that actually you don't have to choose anymore. We're all very multifaceted, and we can all do lots of different things and get paid well for what we want to do. That's brilliant. If people want to come and find out more and what you're all about, and have a look at the website, where should they go?
So the website's bornatdawn.com. And on Instagram, it's at bornatdawn_ if you want to follow the journey.
Brilliant. And what's the name behind the brand?
Oh, so Born at Dawn, part of the name, my name, Lucy, the meaning behind it is Born at Dawn. But also I like that it represented a new way of shopping. Also, both of my children were born at dawn in the morning, so I just felt it was kind of a name that meant a lot to me in lots of different ways and was quite important personally.
Oh, I love that. Today, bizarrely, is actually my due date from 3 years ago, when I was supposed to have my son. He was 4 days afterwards, but I've been awake since 4:30 this morning. That niggle feeling of like, I've got to do something today, but I don't know what it is. And I've put a meeting in the diary, but I'm not sure. And then it suddenly dawned on me about 5 to 5, like, it was the 17th of October, which was the due date. It's so weird, but Oh no, I love that. It's brilliant. Well, thank you so much. You've been such a great guest, and please go and check out the website, everybody, and the Instagram, because you've got some beautiful pieces. I've got my eye on a few bits. So my birthday is coming very soon, so I'll be sending all the links to the family and friends. But thank you, Lucy. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Bye. Thanks so much for listening to today's episode. If you haven't already, feel free to rate, review, and subscribe for all the brand new episodes. If you want to go deeper with my support, check out my freebies house and unlock the rooms you choose. nickyraby.com/freebies house. I also have workshops, programs, and one-on-one bespoke offerings. For prices, availability, or just to have a chat with me, go to nickyraby.com. Thank you, as always, for spending some time with me and my guests, and I'll see you next time.